You're not invisible because you lack credentials. You're not invisible because you lack strategy. You're invisible because of one of three patterns. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one is yours. I've worked with enough high capacity leaders and even seen it in my own life to tell you this. It's always one of these three. And I promise you, none of them are a marketing problem. So you have all the goods. You're accomplished, respected, credentialed. You are already revered in the rooms that you walk into. But the next room, the next stages, the next boardrooms, even platforms, you seem like you're still being overlooked. And you've been trying to solve this with more strategy, right? But visibility isn't a strategy problem at this level. It's a pattern problem. In this video, I'm going to name the three patterns, three that are getting in the way of you being seen and heard, from you going from a hidden figure to the go-to expert in your industry. You're going to recognize yourself in one or maybe two of these. And once you see the pattern, you can then break it. Now, the first pattern number one, is what I like to call the credentialed hider, okay? You use language like this, and maybe it's not you, maybe it's your friend. So go ahead and tag them in this video. But you use language like this. Once I finish this certification, I'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. After I publish the book, I'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. When I have more experience with, you get to fill in the blank with that, what the with is, what follows that. It is really this hidden belief that I'll be visible once I'm qualified enough. Wow. And the truth is, you, my friend, have been qualified for years. You have credentials, right? But you are hiding behind doing more things, really trying to prove that you have the goods. And with each new achievement is a reason to postpone being seen. And what's happening is a real cost. You're paying a high cost by doing this because you are out credentialed at every single point. Seriously, you out-credential every peer who's now booking the stages you should be on. So the first thing I want you to do is to really shift the mindset, if this is you, and you know that this is you, to stop asking, am I qualified? And start asking, who needs what I already know? Who needs what I already know? A few years ago, I heard Gary Vee say this, whether you love him, like him, or hate him. He said the people who are winning right now are the people who lean totally into themselves. He wasn't saying that in an arrogant way. What he was saying is the question I'm asking you to sit with today. Who needs what I already know? You don't need more research. You don't need more credentialing. You already have all of those things. You have enough really for a 30-day content plan. It's really understanding, like, how can I pull out what's already in me? And it really starts with giving people what you already know. I remember when I started in this online space in about 2014, 2015, I wasn't talking about what I'm talking about now. Back then, I was talking about what I know. And what I knew was how to tell a really great story and how to get booked on TV media. So when I first started in an online space, right, this is what shows about evolution and growth. I was talking about PR. I was talking about pitching the media. I was talking about telling your story. What was I doing? I was showing up with what I already knew because I knew there are people who need it. The second pattern is the translator. This is where you use language that may sound like this. Well, it's kind of like, let me explain what I mean by that. I do a few different things. And the secret hidden belief that you are maybe wrestling with is, I need this to make sense to you before I can take up space. And the truth is, you're not explaining, you're seeking permission. You are giving too much context in a polite form of shrinking. Here's another example. Really practical example from my own life. See, I'm not going to tell you something that I'm just not seeing in my clients, but I've also experienced myself. When I moved from telling people how to pitch the media, I moved into being a storyteller strategist. Back then, people didn't know what that was. And I felt like I always had to overly explain this thing of being a storyteller strategist over and over and over again. And what I realized a couple of years in of doing that was I wasn't trying to explain, I was trying to convince them. I was trying to get permission from people for a language and definition that God gave me. You're the visionary, right? You're the one that's given the vision. Don't try to over explain that to people. And the cost is the more you try to explain this to people and you try to over contextualize, which is a polite form of shrinking, your message arrives diluted. You sound like a generalist when you're actually a specialist. For years, I really didn't gel with the term content creator. I used it because guess what? Everybody else was using it. But I realized, no, I'm a producer at heart, and I still am a producer. I'm a content producer. So I want you to shift and really declare before you explain. The explanation is for people who already believe the declaration. So you need to declare who you are and own it and no longer apologize for it. Pattern number 3 is the background operator. I'm more of a behind the scenes person. I'd rather make other people look good. I'm not really the face of X, Y, and Z. Your hidden belief is my power works better when no one is looking at me. Lies, lies, lies. Because the truth is, you've built an entire identity around being invisible because it feels safer than the exposure of authority. And this right here really is the most expensive pattern because it feels like humility. It really does. And there's some people, let me just be very clear. There are some people who are called to be support. There are some people who are called to, I just support from the background. But if you're here on this channel, Visibility is Power TV, that's not your story, friend. Did you hear me? If you're here watching Visibility is Power TV, that is not your story. You know that there is something on the inside. You feel it, you sense it, that's calling you to the front. And not because you want to be seen, not because, you want to be cool and all of those other things. No, you really know that there's a mission in your heart and you need to get out there and tell the story. And so the visibility cost of playing in the background, you make everyone around you visible. Then you wonder why they get the opportunities you trained them for. I want you to sit with that. You've had everyone else show up, and then they get the accolades. They get the opportunities that you trained them for. So one of the things that you have to shift, we have to shift and do a reframe here, is visibility is not about ego. Visibility is stewardship. The people you're called to serve can't find you if you won't stand in front of them. Let's go to the parable of the talent. You may have heard that story in the Bible. Listen, everyone was given a talent by the master according to their measure, according to what they could contain, according to their capacity. And 2 took their talent, money, and multiplied it. The 3rd one buried their talent. That's almost akin to visibility, my friend, that you have been given visibility to steward. And when you don't steward it, you are just like that unwise servant who buried his talent and didn't multiply what was given to them. So here's where we have to understand most leaders don't have just one pattern. They have a primary and a secondary. So I want you to start to think of the 3 that we just went through. What is your primary and what is your secondary? But here's what matters. Once you name the pattern, it loses power over your visibility. I believe that we cannot fix what we continue to ignore because you can't strategize your way out of a pattern you can't see. So here are some of the things I want you to sit with. I want you to sit with this question, okay? When I describe what I do, which pattern shows up? When you describe what you do, which one shows up? And I want you to listen to yourself in your next 3 conversations. See, all of this is data. This is not for you to feel condemnation. This is for you to be aware. And so that way you know how to fix it. Patterns are not character flaws. They are protective strategies that outlived their usefulness. So at one point in time, you know, playing in the background, it worked for you. But in the season that you're called to right now, it no longer works. And there's a reason why you developed a pattern, right? It worked for a season, but I'm here to tell you, your season is over. It's done. So long. Bye bye. So, the thing that we have to really embrace as leaders who are called to be visible is that your visibility is not about you. It's about the people who are waiting for the version of you that is no longer hidden. When you recognize yourself in one of these patterns, the next step is really to dig deeper and start to create a strategy now. Now we can invite strategy in and really look at creating a roadmap for your visibility. Why does this matter? Because for too long, right, we have had strategy upon strategy, but our patterns keep showing up and disrupting the strategy. And so now that we know our pattern, now you can invite someone in who is a strategist who can help you now circumvent some of those patterns and now create a roadmap that works for you. So, right below this video, we have a link to our roadmap session, our visibility roadmap session, where we get very clear on your identity and your position. We talk about how you can package that and how you can go really impact the world and build influence and income, because your visibility is power. Listen, visibility is power only when the person being seen is the real you. So, in the next video in this series, I'm going to show you the identity shift that breaks all three patterns. We are breaking the chains, because before you can change a single thing about your brand, you got to deal with the inner, because the inner impacts the outer. See you soon.